You'll never look at Sauron the same again. Sauron, the name alone, evokes fear and darkness, conjuring up visions of the Dark Lord's fiery eye in the heart of Mordor, overseeing his army of orcs, and plotting the conquest of Middle-earth. But what if I told you that Sauron's story is far more complex than just being the embodiment of evil? Behind that fiery gaze and overwhelming presence lies a tragic tale of ambition, loss, and transformation. A story that spans thousands of years and reveals the intricate web of manipulation and deception that made Sauron one of the most fascinating characters in J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium. In this deep dive, we're going to uncover Sauron's hidden past, his many names, his twisted journey from a powerful and admired figure to a dark and corrupted lord. By the end, you'll see Sauron in a whole new light, one that might just make you rethink everything you thought you knew about him. So let's embark on this epic exploration of Sauron's transformation. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our in-depth lore dives. Now, let's unravel the many faces of Sauron. The beginning of a dark legend. Sauron's journey doesn't begin as the fearsome figure we know from The Lord of the Rings. No, his tale starts as one of great promise and potential. In his earliest form, he was known as Mairon, a Maia spirit of extraordinary talent, skill, and beauty. He was a servant of Auli, one of the Valar, and his natural abilities made him one of the most gifted of his kind. Mairon was admired by the Valar for his potential to create and shape. However, this very potential would become his downfall. His lust for power and control grew as he became increasingly disillusioned with the seemingly passive approach of the Valar toward the shaping of Middle-earth. Mairon's desire to impose order on the world led him to align with Melkor, the first Dark Lord, who represented chaos, destruction, and domination. Through this fateful decision, Mairon embraced darkness, renaming himself Sauron, meaning the abhorred in the language of the elves. This marks the first stage in his tragic journey, the moment when he cast aside his noble potential in favor of power. The transformation of Sauron. As his power grew, so too did his ability to deceive. In his early days as the Dark Lord, he was a master of disguise and manipulation. He often took on fair forms to deceive the free peoples of Middle-earth, presenting himself as a wise and trustworthy ally. One of his most notable identities during this time was as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, a guise under which he tricked the elves into forging the Rings of Power. But Sauron's deception wasn't limited to his outward appearances. It was also psychological. His ability to understand the desires, fears, and motivations of others allowed him to manipulate them to his advantage. He understood the hunger for power and used it to sow discord among the elves, dwarves, and men, pushing them into creating a system of power that he could ultimately control. However, as we know, his greatest creation, the One Ring, would be his undoing. It was a tool designed to dominate and control all the other rings of power, giving Sauron dominion over Middle-earth. But the elves, dwarves, and men soon realized his true intentions. The betrayal was complete, and Sauron's plot began to unravel. The Downfall of Numor, a cataclysmic shift. One of the most significant turning points in Sauron's story was the Downfall of Numor, the great island kingdom of men. Sauron's manipulation of the Numenoreans, especially their king, Ar-Pharazôn, led to a catastrophic war with the Valar. Ar-Pharazôn's pride and arrogance, fueled by Sauron's lies, led to the eventual destruction of Numenor. The wrath of the Valar brought about the Great Wave, a cataclysm that sank the island beneath the sea, wiping out an entire civilization. It was a massive blow to Sauron, as his physical form was destroyed in the chaos of the wave. However, his spirit endured. This event marks a key moment in Sauron's evolution, one that would leave a lasting impact on both his appearance and his methods. His inability to assume fair forms again after this disaster trapped him in his true corrupted form. This was not just a physical limitation, but a psychological one. Sauron's reliance on shapeshifting to deceive and control had been one of his greatest tools. and with it gone, he was forced to confront his true, terrifying nature. This transformation also signified a deeper shift in his character. No longer would he hide behind the facade of beauty or wisdom. His tactics would become more direct, using fear and domination as his primary methods of control. The Eye of Sauron, the rise of the Dark Lord's true power. Now bound to his dark, corrupted form, Sauron sought to rule through raw, unyielding power. His physical form may have been limited, but his will was as strong as ever, and his most iconic symbol, the Eye of Sauron, emerged during this period. The eye was more than just a symbol of his presence. It became a manifestation of his all-consuming will. It was a reminder that no matter where you were in Middle-earth, Sauron was always watching, always searching for a way to regain the strength he once had. The eye, burning with malice and desire, became the focal point of Sauron's power in the Third Age. It was through this eye that Sauron maintained control, indirectly influencing the course of events in Middle-earth. Though he never appeared physically, his power radiated across the land through his servants, the Nazgul. These ringwraiths, once kings of men, had been utterly corrupted by Sauron's influence, and they served him as agents of terror, hunting for the One Ring. Even the characters who dared to oppose him, like Frodo Baggins, could not escape the weight of the eye's gaze. The eye became a constant presence in the minds of the free peoples of Middle-earth, embodying the fear and dread that he inspired. The Necromancer, Sauron's darkest deception. In his desire to rebuild his strength, Sauron took on the identity of the Necromancer in the dark fortress of Dol Guldur. This title was a clever deception, an attempt to hide his true identity from the free peoples of Middle-earth, including the wise and powerful elves and wizards. As the Necromancer, Sauron focused on raising the dead, enslaving spirits, and manipulating life and death. This new form reflected a shift in his methods. He was no longer simply a tyrant seeking power over the living. He sought dominion over life itself. The Necromancer was a being who reveled in decay, death, and the subjugation of the spirits of the dead to his will. This title, too, represented the depths of his corruption. The Necromancer was a figure who not only represented death, but sought to dominate it, manipulating the forces of life and death to extend his control over Middle-earth. It was a manifestation of his insatiable hunger for power, as he tried to conquer even the afterlife. The Shadow in the East, Sauron's return. By the time of The Lord of the Rings, Sauron had adopted yet another title, the Shadow in the East. This title reflects his strategy of indirect control and manipulation. Unlike his earlier, more direct approach to power, Sauron now sought to spread fear through subtlety. His influence loomed over Middle-earth, but it was not immediately visible. It was more pervasive, like a shadow that crept into the hearts of his enemies. The shadow represented a new kind of power, one that was intangible but deeply feared. His ability to remain hidden while still maintaining control was one of his greatest strengths. His name became synonymous with fear, and it was this fear that allowed him to keep the free peoples of Middle-earth in a constant state of unease. In the end, Sauron's many names reflect a character of incredible depth and complexity. From the promising Maia Mairon to the all-powerful Dark Lord, his journey is one of transformation, ambition, and ultimately downfall. His desire for power and domination consumed him, leading to his tragic loss of innocence and the corruption of his soul. But there's more to Sauron than just his evil deeds. He is a tragic figure, a cautionary tale of what happens when ambition goes unchecked. His journey serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of power, corruption, and the cost of hubris. Now that we've explored the many faces of Sauron, we hope you've gained a deeper understanding of one of Middle-earth's most iconic and terrifying figures. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss another episode. And as always, leave your thoughts and theories in the comments. What do you think was Sauron's greatest flaw? And how do you think his legacy shapes the world of Middle-earth today? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Hidden Kingdom.